Hey, what's going on, guys? Another video here today, Prerunner Shoes Motorsports. We're gonna be restoring a couple carbon fiber hoods. This one's off the 06 Civic. We just did the headlights on the other day. We also have one for a 2000 Honda Prelude.
Yeah. So basically some of the supplies that we're going to be using today to go ahead and get this job done, we're actually going to use a Durablock, which is basically just a sanding block, nice and firm so you don't get any nice, or terrible really, pitting or waviness to anything that you're sanding on. Similar to like the headlight, we're just going to hit this guy with 1000 grit, wet or dry 3M sandpaper. We're going to wipe it all down, and we're going to go ahead and pour it with 2000 grit, get everything cleaned up, ready for the clear coat. And then we're going to go ahead and clean this guy up. So first step to starting is get your hood disassembled if you have any pieces. This one actually's got a couple little removable louvers in it, so went ahead and took those out already. We're going to start with those guys, the small little areas first, and then we'll go ahead and get to the bolt of the hood. And stick around. Alrighty guys, we're just going to go ahead and do a quick little walk around of the two hoods here before we get started so you can see some before and after shots. Some of the bigger critical areas we're looking at while we're doing this with the Civic hood is on each side it's actually got a pretty good pre-existing crack from the previous owner that had the car. So you can see where they tried to fill it in with some resin before but just didn't do a very good job, so we're just going to go in and get in and correct that with the clear coat and some good sanding. Can't do anything about the hole in the hood, so we're just going to have to go ahead and put those terrible pins back in that they had. Our louvers right here are actually in pretty good shape, so we're just going to clean these guys up. The hood itself is also really not that bad, really just kind of sun faded, so we're going to go through it, clean everything up, sand it down, and go ahead and get that new shit of clear on there. And then for the Prelude hood, we're in a lot more trouble with this guy. You can see just how bad the carbon fiber just was not taken care of. The resin, the coating on the top is just completely gone in spots, so you can actually touch the carbon. So if we can bring this one back to life, that'll be quite the miracle. But so without further ado, you guys, we're just gonna go ahead and get started on these and get back to you when we're done. Alright guys, so we went ahead and we got all the sanding done on these guys. You can still see a lot of the blemish marks where the clear coat was already missing on this hood here, but to the touch and to the look, it's a very smooth, got a lot of imperfections out. Travis is going to go ahead and wipe it down with paint thinner right now just to get all the oils and contaminants off the surface, so when we do go to shoot it with the clear coat, it's got a nice clear bonding surface. On top of that, as you can see, once it does get wet, which is what it's going to look like with the clear coat on it, it really isn't noticeable with those blemish marks. So we did a really good job getting this guy sanded down and cleaning them up. So the paint should go on very nicely. Clear coat's going to look very great. Take a look at the Civic hood over here. Same sort of situation. You can see some of the sanding marks, just kind of where it was rubbed down. Couldn't quite do too much with those, but these feel very good to the touch now at least, so the clear coat should fill those in. Same thing though, as soon as he gets this guy wiped down with the paint thinner, you can see just how clean this hood's gonna look when we're done with it. Alright guys, how's it going? So before we go ahead and shoot the clear coat on these hoods, we want to go over a few things with you guys, just kind of the materials that we're using and some of the procedures just to make sure you guys are safe. Number one thing in terms of safety, wear a respirator. This stuff spits out a lot of fumes and a lot of particles, and the last thing you want to do is put that in your lungs, so make sure you go get yourself a decent respirator. You can always use the cheaper 3M ones. Just put something over your face though, just to protect your lungs a little bit. Apart from that, we've got a 2-part clear system here, so we're actually going to do 2 parts to 1 part, and we'll go over the mixing procedures on the cup here with you guys so you can fully understand what we're talking about there. And then here's the paint thinner that we actually use to wipe the hoods down with before we get started. you want to get yourselves a nice little paint gun. This isn't anything super expensive. It's a Harbor Freight gun, so more on the budget side of things, but it still does a great job. You're gonna need a paint strainer too to make sure you don't have any particulates in your clear coat when you go to spray it, because it'll jam up the gun.
Make sure you get a regulator as well. Very, very, very important.
Yeah, monitoring your pressure in the gun will make the biggest difference in the world between having a terrible paint job and having a really decent paint job. So let's go over the measuring parts on the cup here really quick. Let me grab the camera. Bring a little closer for you guys so you can actually see here. But basically, because we're on a 2-to-1 system, we're gonna use that section there. And so basically what you wanna do is pick how much clear coat finish that you wanna make. So as you fill up this with your primary ingredient, which is actually going to be our VOC Euro Clear Coat by Matrix MX78. And then our second part for that, the hardener here, the MH78N. So basically, I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 parts of the clear coat. So we're gonna fill that guy up to the 5 because we're doing 2 hoods. We need quite a bit. And then for the hardener, we're just gonna fill it up to the second line with the 5 there. So we're gonna go ahead and get that stuff mixed, and then we'll cut back to you guys and we'll go ahead and get spraying. Just like that, we've got our 2 parts in the bin here. They've both been strained, so we can make sure we don't have any other pieces. Travis is gonna grab our paint stir. We're gonna go ahead and get this guy all mixed up. You're gonna wanna stir this for at least a couple minutes, just make sure you get full immersion of both the materials in there. Make sure everything gets mixed up properly and nicely. You really don't wanna undermix this sort of stuff, especially when you're using a hardener with a clear coat or any other type of paint product. There we go, guys. Right time. Go ahead and do a couple test sprays. Just make sure your gun's adjusted properly. I'm gonna go ahead and do these smaller pieces first. Make sure the gun's truly playing the way we want it to. Make sure to do your first coat nice and light. This is gonna be the tack coat that allows the rest of it to stick properly. All right, here we go. Those look pretty good. Check on those in a little bit. Instantly as he starts to spray, you can see the color coming back to this hood. First coat is just about done on the Prelude hood. Go ahead and move over to the Civic real quick. Get its first coat on. And then we're gonna have about 20 to 30 minutes of drying time before we can come in with the second coat. We'll go ahead and spray that, and we'll go ahead and get back to you guys afterwards. Alrighty guys, well you can see right now it's very orange peely, but that is just because we just put the very first coat of clear on. So give it some time to settle out, and we'll be back in about 15 to 30 minutes and we'll show you guys what the results were. Alright guys, so we went ahead and we got the second coat on these hoods for tonight. We're gonna go ahead and let them dry. We were running into a few issues with doing this. Granted, this is the first time we're actually doing a re-clear on a carbon fiber hood. Well, actually two of them. I'll go ahead and show you guys some of the issues we're having. So this hood had a lot of extensive damage, as you saw before we started, but right here, if I can get the light to reflect properly, you can see the cracking where the old resin from the carbon fiber gave out. So we're hoping give this guy some time to cure overnight tonight. We'll come back in the morning. We're gonna go ahead and sand that stuff out, and we're gonna go ahead and shoot it with another 3 layers of clear for both of these hoods, just because they're both in here. The Civic hood actually turned out really good. The settling is turning out really nicely on the clear coat. This one really doesn't need much more. And as you can see, some of the cracking here on the side is getting filled in quite nicely. So hopefully with a little bit of sanding in the morning, and then those last 3 layers of clear tomorrow, should go ahead and make this guy nice and perfect for us. Check out the louvers over here too. These are turning out really nicely. Just want to say Travis did a really good job spraying today, so hopefully keep it up tomorrow and get back then. All right, good morning YouTube. So we went ahead and got the clear coat done yesterday. It went ahead and settled overnight, so let's go ahead and take a look at it, see how it turned out. And we'll go ahead and do the wet sand on it if it needs it, and then we're gonna go ahead and get them mounted on the cars, and we'll go from there. So right here is the 2000 Honda Prelude hood. This thing turned out amazing. If you guys remember how bad it looked earlier in the video, this thing was trashed. Honestly, it didn't look like it was gonna come back, but after a lot of hard work, a little bit of elbow grease, a couple layers of clear, this thing, a lot of bit of love. This thing is looking great again. Ready to get it mounted back on the car. I don't even think we're gonna need to wet sand this one. This one's looking really nice. Same thing here with the 2006 Civic Si hood. Thing turned out really nicely, really brought it back to life. You can see the shine clearly off of the hood here. It looks really nice. Even the little louvers came out great. Looks like glass. So we're gonna go ahead and get these guys cleaned up really quickly and get them mounted on the cars. Show you guys how they look. Alright guys, well it looks like we're missing some of the hardware for the louvers for that Civic hood, so we're gonna have to run out to the hardware store really quick to go grab some. So we're just gonna go ahead and take our little shop runner right here, go get some bolts. You know, this is the adequate vehicle for a hardware run. So just in case you're wondering, I think we'll get there all right. Driver here.
What's up, guys?
All right, let's go to Ace. Let's get some hardware. Let's get these hoods done. Alrighty guys, got our hardware. Travis, what are you doing?
Taking all the dirt out of my hood.
Oh man, we need to go wash this thing, dude.
This
thing's looking rough.
Let's go wash it real quick.
Alright, let's go. Just like that, she's clean and roadworthy once again. Let's get back to the shop and get those hoods on. Getting a little squirrely. Alrighty guys, take a look. Got the hoods mounted on the cars here. This is the 06 Civic SI. Turned out really nicely. Everything's looking nice and glossy here. Got a couple little pinholes, so it could use a little cut and buff to make it perfect, but being that this car's already 14 years old and it's got 200,000 miles on it, I'm not going to worry too much about it. Looks a lot better than it did. Let's take a look at the Prelude. Here's our collision job we're working on right now, 2013 Impala. Here's the Prelude though. This one turned out really nicely from what it was. Nice to see it back on the car again. What do you think, Travis? Think this one turned out well?
Turned out really nice compared to what it was.
Absolutely.
Now needs a paint correct.
Yep, both cars need a little paint correction. Well, there you have it, guys. That's how you do your carbon fiber hood restoration. Takes a lot of prep work, a lot of sanding, a couple quick clear coats. You'll be back on the road driving looking brand new. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the video if you have any ideas for anything else for us to do, and we'll get back to you guys in some future videos. All right, have a good one. Later.
Later, guys.